I'm working so hard, so hard. I'm giving everything I have into this, and it'll make that feeling all the better when we get there.
Welcome, Steven, 2 Degrees.
Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Look forward to getting to know a little bit more about you and your story, sharing with our audience. So let's start your childhood, where you grew up.
I grew up in Montville, New Jersey.
Jersey.
It's a small town in New Jersey, about 45 minutes away from New York City. And I went to Valley View Elementary School, Montville Township Public High School, and that's where my childhood began.
Did you always think you'd be an entrepreneur? What were your interests growing up?
Growing up, I had a great role model. My father owned his own business, sheet metal fabrication, and the company was called Pilot. So my dad had this big factory, and it was always exciting to go visit him and take some jelly beans out of his jelly bean jar and run around the factory. Good memories at a young age, and I always imagined that when I was older, I would be in his position, running the company, working at the company. He started as a broom boy at the company, and then was founded by my grandfather. And then eventually my dad went to run it, and eventually sold the company and had a lot of success. So that's why I'm here as an entrepreneur today.
So what hobbies did you have growing up? What were some of the things that you did for fun as a kid?
Let's see. A lot of days after school, riding bikes, rollerblading, skateboarding, playing with friends. A lot of outside activities, like searching for treasure. What you're supposed to do as a kid, I think, on a bike without a helmet. Well, you're not supposed to do that anymore, but that was the norm back then, and now I have kids, and they wear helmets when they ride their bikes. And I've played golf at a very young age. I think I started taking lessons at 5. Played some t-ball and baseball, but that wasn't for me. I was more of an individual sports kind of person, like skiing and snowboarding.
So when did you get the entrepreneur? When did you start? When was it you first started getting involved with being an entrepreneur?
I always had the bug. I don't know when it started exactly, but the first memory I have of doing something entrepreneurial, like, let's say, above and beyond selling lemonade, my freshman year at college, I was buying tractors, like tractors for gardening, like for your yard, like lawnmowers, like ones that you ride on, and I was selling them. I was selling them on eBay, and then after they would sell, I'd use the money to buy the tractor on Amazon, and I would sell it out, but I was selling it for twice what I was paying for it. I'd find really good deals, and I loved it. I spent a lot of time learning that business of buying something cheap and selling it high, and got a lot of satisfaction from it.
Where'd you go to college, and what'd you go for?
I went to Syracuse, and I spent 2 years at Syracuse. Communication was my major, with a minor in, I think I had a minor in acting, but eventually switched to economics, and then transferred to Rutgers, which is where I graduated from.
So after graduation, what came next for you?
I got a great job, which stemmed from an internship. I think it was my junior year, maybe it was my senior year, I don't remember. I had an internship with Shea Communications. This is the PR agency that sanctioned the sport competitive eating, International Federation of Competitive Eating, Nathan's famous hot dog eating contest. So I was the intern at that office, and I not only dressed up as the Frankster in that hot dog costume in 104-degree weather in Coney Island for during the contest, but I was also the point person for all the eaters who considered themselves professional athletes and still do, and just a very exciting, memorable summer for me. So that set me off into PR. So my first job out of college was at a company called MediaLink, which they produce like VNRs and like content for TV and radio news. So I worked in a newsroom for about 4 years. Had a great time, learned a lot, loved working. Like I'd get up extra early, get to work, and I never wanted to leave. I'd stay late a lot of nights, and because of the newsroom, it was 24 hours. A lot of times I would like work in the master control room and feed tapes via satellite, like do a lot of live television broadcasts, and felt very, very at home there. Yeah, that was my first job after college.
So after that, what was next for you?
I transitioned from the operations of this like a newsroom digital media job to sales. I was pulled in that position. Didn't really want to do it. Didn't really like it. Sales just didn't feel right to me. So while I was in that sales job, I got a cold call at my desk, and someone offered to hire me to work at a startup, and they said they would double my salary. That was the offer on the phone without even knowing what I was making, and I went in for the interview, put on my suit, went down to Soho, and hired me on the spot, and they doubled my salary. Doing a sales job for out-of-home media, which is like the ads you see on television screens in stores. Mm-hmm. And that startup did not last very long. They went out of business, and a few days after that, I was with my best friend, and he's a finance person. He worked at a investment banking company, and we just decided, he was taking a break from work, he was writing a book. We decided that we were going to start an app company because Steve Jobs had just announced the App Store like a few months earlier, and we just put pencil to paper and started making apps, formed the company. And that was my first company, and right off the bat, I had a huge success. The first app we made, had no idea what I was doing. Was the #1 most downloaded app in 2009. For 3 months straight, it was the top of the charts, and that really positioned me for like I got that bug. Like I felt like that entrepreneurship, like rewarding feeling, like you built something and it was successful, and I wanted more. However, I think that, I don't know if that was a great first experience. It's like going to Atlantic City or Las Vegas, and the first time you gamble, you win a lot of money, and you want to keep going back, because we made 53 more apps at my first company, and none of them did as well as the first one. So from there, I decided after so many years, I wanted to work for an entrepreneur who was more experienced and seasoned, and I could learn the right way to do things. So I went to my second startup. It was called Flow, a very, very successful serial entrepreneur based in Florida. He's based in Florida. The company was in Brooklyn. It was an amazing company. They the CEO and founder had I think started 13 or 14 companies, sold 11 of them, and I learned a lot from him. You know, I was by his side, watched the startup grow. At one point, it was like a big piece of the company was acquired by a company in California, in San Francisco, and I went along with that part of the company. It was the mobile app development side. And then I worked at that startup, which was the third startup I worked at. I got to run their mobile division, and we created this amazing. I don't know how this company didn't make it. It was called Air Now, AERNOW, and it was like Netflix, or like a YouTube Netflix for live events. So you could tune in to buy tickets to an event that you can't be at, and then you get to control the cameras at the event. They owned a camera company like GoPro, so they could install cameras at the events. And I built the app where you could like switch cameras, zoom in, change cameras, like cameras on athletes and singers, and they raised a ton of money. I think they spent it too fast. And then from there I transitioned to what I had been dreaming my whole life, which was 2 Degrees.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about how the concept of 2 Degrees came to mind.
Mm-hmm. So the company that I started in 2017, 2 Degrees, is a way for people to connect with their friends of friends nearby. That's why it's called 2 Degrees, like 2 degrees of separation. And I came up with this idea a long time ago, and it stemmed from something that would happen regularly that bothered me. I kept I would hear someone say a name or a term or something that would sound familiar to someone else. An example is I was in Colorado. I was on vacation with one of my friends, and we're at the bottom of the ski mountain. It's like 3:30 p.m. Everyone just finished skiing, and everyone's like relaxing on picnic tables and live music and having a beer. And someone said New Jersey, which is where I'm from. And I swiveled my chair around. Well, I was on a picnic bench. I swiveled my butt around, and I was going to say, I'm from New Jersey. But before I got the words out, someone else said, I'm from New Jersey. And I heard their conversation, and it was so excited, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're from New Jersey. No way. I'm from New Jersey too. Where are you from? I'm from here. Where are you from? I'm from here. Do you know this person? Do you know that person? Yes, I know this person. And they were so unbelievably excited, but it just doesn't make sense to me. Why do people get so excited when they're out of their home base and they meet someone else who's from where they're from? Or when you see someone that has like a hat or a sweatshirt with the name of your high school or college on it, it's like it's such a big deal. And not only do you throw your hands up and celebrate and have these great feelings, but then you tell people about it. You're like, you're not going to believe what happened to me today. I was here and I met this person and they're from my hometown. What are the chances? Well, it turns out that the chances are extremely high, and these serendipitous moments that we find to be coincidences are not so uncommon. We don't start conversations with everyone that we know. We're around people every single day that went to our college, but we just don't know it. But if you do find it out from that hat or that sweatshirt, it's always a conversation starter. So I just wanted to know who around me I was connected to and how before I met them. I wanted to when I moved from New York City to Florida, I kept meeting new people and then finding out afterwards that we had mutual friends through Facebook or otherwise. And I figured it's like got to be a way for me to find out like who on my street knows my friends from back home. And that's what brought me to the drawing board. Started making this app.
Awesome. So what came next after, you had the concept, you got excited, it's something you want to do for a while. So how do you get started?
I created a business plan and a pitch deck. I sent it around to some of my friends and family, and I raised some money to start the company. People liked the idea, and I raised about $500,000. And from there, I was able to create the prototype and the proof of concept, which worked. It worked well. I had a great response. And year 2, I raised some more money, took it a little bit further, hired some more people, and started to develop our business model so we could generate some revenue and have a real business. And the business model is it's a way for businesses, stores, advertisers to connect with an audience in a whole new way. We have the patent issued globally on our technology, which is networking to the second degree through phone contacts, email contacts, social media contacts by location. So businesses can use 2 degrees to connect with their customers' first degree network, which is their second degree network. And it goes through waves. So if a business advertises on 2 degrees, let's say they run a deal for buy one get one slice of pizza, then anyone who redeems that deal, the deal is then offered to their friends who are nearby in an activity feed similar like what you see on Venmo. You can see where people are sending and receiving money. Similar to that, like your friend just got a free slice of pizza. Therefore, that free slice of pizza gets extended to that friend, and when they go in and buy it, it then goes on to their friends. So it can bring a lot of new customers into businesses with a very high trusted endorsement because it's coming from someone they know that already shops there.
Right. So being an entrepreneur is tough. What's some of the toughest challenges that you've faced?
Being an entrepreneur is tough. I'd like to say that a few times. Being an entrepreneur is tough.
This might be an understatement, right?
Yeah, it doesn't get easier and easier either. It seems like the more success you have, the more growth you have, the harder and harder it gets. Some challenges. I think that the two greatest challenges I have I've experienced as an entrepreneur. One, which we spoke about earlier, finding good people, finding the right people that are loyal, dedicated, hardworking, work at the company as if it's their own, and care. It's hard to find that person. You hire someone that you think is right for the job, and then time goes by, and some of them overperform, and some of them underdeliver, and you never know who it's going to be. You give it your best shot, and the results of your company and everything that you're doing is it's the product of the people that are working for you. So that's number one. Find the right people. Spend the extra time, do the right thing, interview a few more people, get some references, and make sure you hire the right people. Number two is raising money at a startup in the beginning is very important, because when you're a startup and you're pre-revenue, you don't make money yet. So you have to have capital in the bank to hire people, to build what you're building, to sell what you're selling. And there's all kinds of expenses when you form a company. There's a lot of legal expenses with apps. There's privacy and in terms of services, and the list goes on and on. So it would be raise as much money as you can, raise more than you think you need, because then you won't have to spend your time raising money each year like I've been doing. If I had raised more money in the beginning, gave up more of the company, I would have had more time over the next couple of years to work on the company instead of going out trying to raise capital. And so raise more and save the money that you have. Like, be more careful with it. Easy to say that in retrospect, because you have a great idea, you come up with a plan, and I had this one company I hired. It was $30,000. They were going to go to 10 colleges, and it was called on-campus advertising, and it sounded like a home run. Planned it, signed a contract, and we went for it. We had this great app. We wanted college students to download it, and no results. No results. It sounded great. They were going to hand out flyers. They had these people that work for them would go to campus and put like thousands of flyers and engage people and slide things under dorms. But it turned out that we didn't get what we paid for. Some people that worked for us that were there were taking videos, and the people that they said were going to be handing stuff out weren't. They didn't have the quantity. They were handing it to the wrong people. So I trusted someone, and in retrospect, I don't know if I should have saved that money or spent it somewhere else. But just be careful with the money. Don't be impulsive and quick to try things because you're excited to get to where you're going. Sometimes an extra minute or day of thought won't really make a difference in the long run. However, in the short run, it could make all the difference.
What's some of your the things that you've accomplished so far that you're most proud of?
I think that would have to be my wife and kids. They're number one, come before everything, and the best part of my day is getting to see them in the morning, or when I get home from work, or put my kids to bed. These days I don't get to spend much time with them because I'm spending so much time at the office. When I'm at the office, I'm stressed because I wish I was with my family, and when I'm with my family, I'm stressed out that I'm not spending more time working. It's this back and forth of guilt. Wow, I'm really not answering your question now. Take it in another direction. Yeah, I love my family. I'm proud of my wife and kids and everything we've accomplished together. And with 2 Degrees, I think it's an amazing accomplishment to get up to 500,000 users, and we have hundreds of customers now. Something I always looked forward to, and now that I'm there, it just feels good having that validation, seeing it work, getting feedback, and I'm looking forward to many more accomplishments in that regard.
What goals do you have for the future?
Goals for the future. I think my number one goal in the future right now is to build this business into what I know it can be. And I'll do whatever it takes to get there. I am just trying to find the right people to help me do it. And as the company grows, I can no longer do it alone, and we're growing faster than we can maintain. So that balance, I think it's figuring out that balance to get there, and I'm really looking forward to it. I'm working so hard. I'm giving everything I have into this, and it'll make that feeling all the better when we get there.
Absolutely. So talk about some people that have helped you become who you are.
Some people who helped me become who I am. Wow, there's a lot of people along that journey. I think a couple of my family members, starting with my parents, I think they had a pretty big part in helping me to become who I am. My sister, she's a great influence on me. She's she's 2.5 years older than me. She's hard on me, and always pushing me to do the right thing and be the best I can be. My wife certainly keeps me in line and makes me a better person. Everything I do is better having her. She's a compliment to me. I'm quick to act, impulsive, very optimistic. She's more of a realist, rational, objective, measured. So I think having these people in my life, along with some people that work with me at my company, that day to day make me a better person.
So people obviously look up to you with the success you've had. How does that feel?
It feels good. It feels good when someone takes a moment of time to acknowledge, respect, ask questions, about what you're working on, and I'm very empathetic in that regard. When I'm speaking to a class, like I spoke to a class of students at FAU last week, and the class revolved around me talking about my experience and what it's like starting a business, trying to educate them. But at the end of the class, I asked them questions. Is there anyone here who has an idea, like what's stopping you from pursuing it? I'd like to give back, and I want to help others achieve what I've been so fortunate to do in my success as an entrepreneur in the startups that I've built.
What is there anything else that you'd want someone to know about 2 Degrees?
If you haven't heard of it, I'd love for you to take a look and try it. I'm very confident that you'll like what it has to offer. We believe it's a game changer to be able to connect with your second degree friends and learn about what people are doing, buying, shopping, like popular trends and getting discounts. It's important to people. Digital coupons these days are very hot. Honey, Honey, was just bought for $4 billion by PayPal. Is that right? Last week, and I've been using that company forever. It's just it's a great way to learn about savings when prices drop, and I think that we're bringing discounts, deals, and new connections to the world in a way that no one's ever seen, and it's going to make a big difference and have a huge impact on on e-commerce, small businesses, finding new customers, and the social implications of shopping.
Awesome. What's any last words that you want people to know about you?
Well, I think it's a lesson I've learned very recently. Take care of yourself. I think there comes a point when we can all work too hard. The grind is the grind, but sleep, eat, smile, spend time with the people you love. That's what life is about. Don't become too obsessed with your job, because that quote is a good one. You are not your job.
Awesome. Thanks so much for joining us.
Great to be here. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.